Welcome to your nightmare getaway. Congratulations. You've just booked what you thought was the perfect Airbnb. Cozy, affordable, and loaded with rustic charm. Maybe it's a quaint cabin nestled deep in the woods or a historic home with character. But as soon as you step inside, that charm takes on a whole new meaning. There's an antique mirror that wasn't in the photos, a mysterious door that definitely wasn't in the listing, and a faint but persistent scent of lavender despite no visible air fresheners. Oh, and is it just you? Or is that rocking chair rocking itself? Let's be honest, haunted Airbnbs don't come with disclaimers. The listing probably promised a peaceful escape with modern amenities and a touch of history, but it conveniently left out the part about the cranky ghost in the attic, or the cursed cookies waiting on the counter. Sure, the host might have a solid 5-star rating, but those reviews? They were probably written by people too scared to leave anything but glowing praise. Don't panic yet. The good news is that a haunted Airbnb doesn't have to ruin your trip. In fact, it could be an adventure. You know, the kind of adventure that leaves you sleeping with the lights on for the next 6 months. But surviving your stay takes strategy. You're not just dodging a bad Wi-Fi connection here. You're up against restless spirits, cursed decor, and possibly something lurking behind that suspiciously heavy curtain. This guide isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. Well, okay, maybe not thriving. But with these tips, you'll at least make it out with your sanity mostly intact and some truly unbelievable stories for your friends. So, buckle up, light a candle, preferably one scented like sage, and let's dive into how to survive your not-so-peaceful getaway. After all, nothing says relaxing vacation like dodging ghosts in your pajamas. Tip 1. Leave the guestbook unsigned. At first glance, the guestbook sitting on the entryway table looks harmless. It's bound in faux leather, embossed with welcome, and filled with cheerful messages from past guests about their amazing stay and beautiful memories. But if you've just checked into a haunted Airbnb, let me make this clear. Do not sign it. That book is less of a guest log and more of a spiritual trap. Think about it. Why would ghosts need a guest book? They don't care about your Yelp review. No, this book exists for one reason only: to bind unsuspecting souls to the property. Your signature is like a beacon to the restless spirits, saying, "Hi, I'm new here. And yes, I'd love to be haunted." The last thing you need is to wake up at 3 a.m. with ghostly whispers in your ear asking why you gave them a 3-star rating. And those glowing reviews from past guests? Don't believe them. Sure, someone might have genuinely enjoyed their stay, or they might have been possessed by the ghost of a Victorian schoolteacher and forced to write a glowing testimonial. Pay close attention to any entries that sound overly polite or oddly dated, like, "The manner was simply divine, and the phantoms were most agreeable." That's not a review. It's a warning. So when you see that guest book, resist the urge to scribble down your name. Instead, flip it closed and walk away. If you really feel compelled to leave feedback, stick to the Airbnb app. Though let's be real, if your host is harboring spirits, they're probably not refunding your cleaning fee. Leaving the book unsigned might just be your first step towards surviving your stay and not becoming a permanent resident in the process. Tip 2. Never touch the antique mirror. Every haunted Airbnb has one. An antique mirror hanging in just the right spot to catch your reflection when you least expect it. Maybe it's perched above a fireplace, leaning ominously in the hallway, or worse, in your bedroom, staring at you while you try to sleep. It's ornate, slightly cracked, and radiates an aura that screams, "Don't look too closely." Let me give it to you straight. Do not touch it. Better yet, avoid looking at it altogether. Antique mirrors are basically ghost magnets. Over the years, they've reflected countless faces, some of which aren't exactly resting in peace. That ominous feeling you get when you glance into one? That's not just your overactive imagination. It's centuries of trapped energy ready to latch on to anyone foolish enough to linger. And if you dare to touch it, you might as well send the ghostly inhabitants an engraved invitation to ruin your life. Let's talk about what happens when you do interact with one. Best case scenario, your reflection moves a second too late, sending you into a full-blown panic. Worst case scenario, something that isn't you stares back. Maybe it's a shadowy figure in the background, or maybe your reflection's mouth moves, but you didn't say a word. Either way, touching the mirror only makes it worse. You might accidentally smear away a layer of grime that was holding back whatever's on the other side. So, what should you do if you can't avoid the mirror? Easy. Cover it. A towel, a sheet, even your jacket will do. Just make sure it's completely obscured and don't peek underneath. If you're feeling particularly paranoid, you can even stick a post-it note on it that says, "Out of order." Ghosts have a weird sense of humor, and it might buy you some time. Whatever you do, treat that mirror like the cursed object it probably is, and leave it well enough alone. Tip 3. Beware the complimentary cookies. Ah, complimentary cookies. They're the hallmark of a welcoming Airbnb host, warm, inviting, and usually presented on a decorative plate with a handwritten note that says something sweet like, "Enjoy your stay." But, in a haunted Airbnb, those cookies aren't a friendly gesture. They're a trap. And if you value your soul, or your digestive system, you'd better keep your hands off them. The cookies might look perfectly normal at first. Maybe they're chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin, or even sugar cookies shaped like little ghosts. The irony, right? But take a closer look. Are the chips unusually shiny? Do they have a faint glow under the dim kitchen light? Can you swear you saw one twitch? These aren't just baked goods. They're cursed artifacts designed to lure you into the supernatural equivalent of a Venus flytrap. Let's say hypothetically, you decide to eat one. The first bite might taste amazing, but then the side effects kick in. Maybe you start hearing whispers that seem to come from the walls, or maybe your reflection in the antique mirror. You didn't touch it, right? Start smiling when you're not. Worst case, you've just swallowed a piece of the spirit world, and now the ghosts think you're one of them. You don't want to spend your vacation as a half-possessed cookie connoisseur, do you? If you're feeling charitable, leave the cookies where you found them. If you're feeling extra cautious, toss them outside. But be prepared for the eerie sound of phantom laughter when they hit the ground. And if you're staying with someone who insists on eating them despite your warnings, well, there's no saving everyone. Just make sure to grab the keys and be ready to leave when the cookies inevitably come back. For seconds. Tip 4. Ignore the noises. It starts innocently enough. Maybe you hear a faint creak above your head, or the soft rustle of something brushing against the walls. You chalk it up to an old house settling, the wind, or maybe a raccoon. But as the night drags on, the noises grow louder. Footsteps in the attic, whispers in the hallway, the unmistakable sound of something scratching at the door. Whatever you do, don't investigate. Ghosts love curious guests. You might be tempted to play the hero, armed with a flashlight and misguided confidence, thinking, if I just check it out, I'll prove there's nothing there. Spoiler alert, there's always something there. The moment you cross that threshold into the attic or peek around the corner, you've invited the spirits to mess with you. Ghosts don't play fair, and they have no problem making you the star of their midnight horror show. The trick is to ignore the sounds altogether. Hear footsteps overhead? Assume the ghost is just stretching its legs. Whispering voices in the hallway? Let them gossip. They're not talking to you. Yet. Whatever it is, pretend it doesn't exist. Ghosts thrive on fear and attention, and the more you feed into it, the more they'll escalate. It's like dealing with a toddler throwing a tantrum, except this toddler can manipulate the physical plane and maybe possess your body. If ignoring the noises isn't cutting it, create a sound barrier. Blast your favorite playlist, crank up a podcast, or turn on the TV for some white noise. Sure, the ghost might slam a few doors to compete, but at least you won't hear the faint giggles coming from the shadows. Remember, curiosity didn't just kill the cat. It signed its name in the guest book and got stuck haunting the Airbnb for eternity. Don't be the cat. Tip 5. Don't open the unmarked door. Every haunted Airbnb has one. A door that wasn't in the listing photos, doesn't lead to any room mentioned in the description, and practically radiates menace. Maybe it's at the end of a hallway, slightly ajar as if inviting you to peek inside. Maybe it's locked, with scratches around the keyhole like someone, or something, tried to claw their way out. Whatever form it takes, remember this. Do not open that door. The thing about unmarked doors is that they're never hiding anything pleasant. You're not going to find an extra bathroom or a cute laundry nook. No. What's behind that door is either a portal to another dimension, a centuries-old ghost that's been locked away for good reason, or some horrifying secret the Airbnb host conveniently forgot to mention in their cozy getaway listing. Let's be honest. Your curiosity is going to kick in. You'll think, what if it's just storage? Or I'll just take a quick peek, no harm done. But that's exactly how haunted Airbnbs claim their victims. One moment you're turning the doorknob, and the next you're staring into a pitch-black void that seems to breathe. And if you're unlucky enough to step through, well, let's just say there's no cancellation policy for getting trapped in an alternate dimension. If you absolutely must know what's behind the door, and you shouldn't, proceed with extreme caution. Arm yourself with a sharpened candy cane, a salt shaker, and a strong sense of self-preservation. But the smarter move is to leave it alone entirely. Treat that door like a sleeping bear. It's better not to poke it. After all, you didn't book this Airbnb for its secrets. You booked it for the complimentary Wi-Fi and questionable cookies. Stay focused and stay away from the door. Tip 6. Avoid rearranging the decor. Haunted Airbnbs are always tastefully, if eerily, decorated. Antique dolls with unblinking eyes, crooked portraits of stern-faced ancestors, and that one chair in the corner that no one seems brave enough to sit in. Sure, you might be tempted to rearrange things, move the creepy doll to another room, straighten the portrait, or nudge the rocking chair into a less ominous position. Don't. Messing with the decor is like waving a big neon sign that says, "Please haunt me." These items aren't just part of the spooky aesthetic, they're anchors for the ghosts. That portrait on the wall? It's probably the original owner of the house, and they're not thrilled about the whole Airbnb situation. That doll? It's the spiritual equivalent of a surveillance camera. And the rocking chair? Let's just say it rocks on its own for a reason. Moving these items is essentially evicting the spirits from their comfort zones, and they won't take it lightly. If you do move something, expect immediate repercussions. The doll might show up in your bed, its glassy eyes staring right at you. The portrait? It'll find its way back to the wall, but this time, the subject might look just a little angrier. And the chair? You don't want to know what happens if you disturb the chair. Let's just say it'll make rocking noises all night long, even if you leave it in another room. To survive, treat the decor like an untouchable museum exhibit. Admire it from a safe distance, but don't interact. If something falls on its own, don't pick it up. That's how ghost traps work. And if you're really feeling unnerved, try talking to the items. A polite, "Lovely chair, I'll leave you right here where you belong," might buy you some goodwill with the resident spirits. Remember, you're a guest in their house, and you don't want to offend your hosts, living or otherwise. Tip 7. Sleep in shifts. When you check into a haunted Airbnb, sleep becomes a luxury, not a guarantee. Ghosts love the nighttime, and their favorite hours for mayhem are between midnight and 3 a.m., also known as the witching hour. This is when the whispers get louder, the footsteps get closer, and the antique mirror starts reflecting things it shouldn't. If you're serious about surviving the night, you'll need a plan. And that plan? Sleep in shifts. If you're staying with friends or family, divide the night into manageable chunks so someone is always awake and alert. The person on watch duty doesn't just guard against ghostly encounters, they're also the designated screamer. If something moves, whispers, or, heaven forbid, touches them, their job is to scream bloody murder and wake everyone else up. It's not the most comforting system, but it works. During your shift, stay busy. Sitting quietly in the dark is an invitation for the ghosts to mess with you. Instead, arm yourself with a flashlight. Keep your back to a wall, and maybe even hum a cheerful tune to drown out any suspicious creaks. Just don't hum Christmas carols. Ghosts love a good ironic haunting. If you're feeling bold, sprinkle a line of salt around your sleeping companions for extra protection. It's not foolproof, but it might make you feel slightly less helpless. And for the love of all things haunted, don't fall asleep during your shift. The second your head droops, that's when the rocking chair will start moving, or the guest book will mysteriously slide closer. Staying awake isn't just about protecting your friends. It's about surviving the night without becoming a cautionary tale for future Airbnb guests. So brew some coffee, clutch your sharpened candy cane, and remember, ghosts don't sleep, but that doesn't mean they have to win. Tip 8. Bring your own light bulbs. One thing haunted Airbnbs love to do is mess with the lights. Flickering bulbs, sudden blackouts, and that one lamp in the corner that never seems to work no matter how many times you try flipping the switch. It's not just annoying, it's a classic ghostly tactic designed to disorient you and amplify the creepy vibes. That's why one of the most practical survival tips is simple. Bring your own light bulbs. LED bulbs are your best bet here. They're bright, energy efficient, and less likely to burn out under spectral interference. And if you can find a brand that advertises shatterproof on the box, even better. Ghosts love the dramatic effect of smashing light bulbs at the worst possible moments, so a little durability goes a long way. Keep a stash in your bag, and don't be afraid to replace the Airbnb's suspiciously dim bulbs the moment you arrive. Of course, swapping out light bulbs isn't without its risks. Ghosts aren't big fans of bright lights. They prefer the cozy, shadowy ambiance that keeps you guessing what's lurking just out of sight. If you notice the lights flickering even after replacing the bulbs, that's not an electrical issue. That's a ghost issue. And if a bulb unscrews itself right before your eyes, congratulations, you've just made the spirit angry. In a worst-case scenario, keep a backup flashlight or two within arm's reach. Even the brightest LED bulb won't save you if the ghosts decide to cut the power entirely. And if you're stuck in total darkness, remember this. Ghosts hate light, but they love panicking humans. So stay calm, stay prepared, and never underestimate the power of a fresh bulb in the fight against the supernatural. Tip 9. Keep salt and sage handy. When dealing with a haunted Airbnb, you're not just fighting the occasional spooky noise, you're facing an all-out spiritual invasion. This is where the old-school ghost repellents come into play. Salt and sage. Sure, it might feel a little cliché, but clichés exist for a reason. They work. And when the lights flicker, and the guest book slides off the table on its own, you'll be glad you packed them. Salt is your first line of defense. A simple circle of salt around your sleeping area, or a line across doorways can keep most spirits at bay. Think of it as a supernatural bug spray, cheap, effective, and highly portable. Just make sure to use regular table salt. Pink Himalayan or fancy sea salt might look cute on Instagram, but ghosts don't care about aesthetics. Pro tip: keep a salt shaker in your pocket. It might sound ridiculous, but you'll thank me when you're face to face with a ghost and need to draw an emergency line. Sage, on the other hand, is your all-purpose spiritual cleanser. Burning sage, or smudging, is a ritual used to clear out negative energy, and let's face it, a haunted Airbnb is nothing but bad vibes. Light the sage, let the smoke drift into every corner of the room, and don't forget the closet. Ghosts love closets. Just be prepared for the occasional dramatic, ghostly response. If the temperature drops suddenly or the rocking chair starts moving during your sage session, congratulations, you've hit a nerve. The key to using salt and sage is confidence. Ghosts feed on fear, so if you're waving sage around like a scared toddler or drawing a salt line with trembling hands, they're going to know. Stand tall, channel your inner ghost hunter, and let the spirits know you mean business. You might not look like a professional exorcist, but at least you'll survive the night without becoming part of the haunted decor. Tip 10. Check out before midnight. The end of your stay is in sight, and you're probably thinking, I made it, I can relax now. Wrong. The final hours of your haunted Airbnb adventure are the most dangerous. Ghosts are like passive-aggressive landlords. They save their worst behavior for when they know you're about to leave. And if you're still hanging around at midnight, you're playing with fire or ectoplasm. Ghostly activity peaks during the witching hour, and if you're still packing your bags when the clock strikes 12, the spirits may decide they don't want you to leave after all. Maybe they've grown fond of you, or maybe they're just petty. Either way, midnight isn't a time to be debating how many cookies you can fit into your suitcase. It's the time to be miles away, sipping coffee at a gas station, and congratulating yourself for surviving. Leaving early is critical for several reasons. First, ghosts love to create last-minute chaos. That unmarked door you didn't open, it'll swing open just as you're zipping up your bag. The antique mirror you wisely avoided, it'll show you something you'll never unsee as you pass by. Checking out before midnight reduces the odds of becoming the plot twist in your own horror story. And don't forget to leave the place exactly as you found it. Ghosts are weirdly territorial about their space. If you moved the creepy doll back into its corner or replaced a light bulb, make sure everything looks the way it did when you arrived. The goal isn't to get your security deposit back, it's to avoid pissing off the spirits on your way out the door. So pack fast, don't linger, and resist the urge to take a haunted souvenir as a keepsake. You might think that antique spoon is harmless, but trust me, it's not. Check out early, drive away quickly, and leave the ghosts wondering why their latest victim actually got away. 5 stars for survival. Congratulations, brave traveler. You've successfully survived your haunted Airbnb stay without losing your soul, sanity, or sense of humor. You navigated cursed cookies, dodged cranky ghosts, and resisted the urge to peek behind that unmarked door. All while managing to sleep, in shifts, of course, and leave the guest book blessedly unsigned. You've earned your survival stripes, and honestly, that deserves more than just a 5-star review. It deserves a standing ovation. But let's not pretend you're leaving unscathed. Haunted Airbnbs have a way of leaving their mark, whether it's a lingering fear of antique mirrors or a newfound paranoia about rocking chairs. Will you ever trust complimentary cookies again? Probably not. And that strange creak in your hallway at home? It's probably nothing. Unless it's something. Either way, you'll never look at vacation rentals the same way again. The real question is, was it worth it? Sure, you've got an incredible story to tell. The kind that'll make your friends gasp and swear they'll never stay in an Airbnb again. But you also have something more valuable. A deeper appreciation for how far you'll go to survive a long weekend of supernatural nonsense. Whether it's using salt lines as home decor or turning candy canes into weapons, you've proven that you're resourceful, adaptable, and maybe just a little unhinged, and that's a good thing. As you pack your bags and drive away from the cursed property, don't forget to reflect on the experience. You've faced the paranormal head-on and walked away with your life and, most of, your wits intact. Not everyone can say the same. Just remember, not all Airbnbs are haunted, but the next time you see a listing that's too good to be true, maybe think twice before booking. Or, better yet, stick to hotels. They might have bed bugs, but at least they don't come with ghostly roommates. Until your next adventure, hopefully one with fewer ghosts, stay safe, stay skeptical, and always check the reviews for phrases like unexplained noises or surprisingly cold at night. And if you ever find yourself staring down another haunted getaway, you know where to turn for survival tips. Good luck, and may your future vacations be ghost-free, or at least less terrifying.